Meow, 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 meow. Everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Meow, meow. Hey, everybody, Cantonese Cat here. These are charts for Mara, Marathon Digital Holdings. And I kind of want to zoom out here a little bit. I want to show you these 3 month candles. These are quarterly candles. Each of these can represent a quarter of a year. Obviously, this Q2 is not over yet for 2024. It's only April. But so far, I've seen some pretty bullish development. I kind of just want to spend some time talking about it. There's a cycle high on the last cycle was around this candle over here in Q4 2021. And something that's very, very interesting has happened here. If you can see that the blue line over here is the Tenkan line, which comes with the Ichimoku cloud analysis. For a very, very strong bull market, the Tenkan usually flips from resistance to support, right? It looks like it was doing that over here during this bull market, and it looks like it was going to get above it and back tested it. And it looked like there's a potential for it to just keep going up a lot higher, but it ended up not doing it. It ended up kind of fall underneath of that and got rejected here by the Tenkan. And you had a little bit of a bearish cross over here. And next thing you know, a bear market came. And right now there's something that is more of a bullish development because the Tenkan, the blue line over here, is flipped from resistance over here to potentially as support over here. And so far, it is on top of the quarterly Tenkan. So this could potentially end up flipping the the resistance zone over here from last cycle into support here. It's a pretty interesting development. I just kind of want to show that. Um, Now, going back to the monthly here, and if you look at the Ichimoku cloud, which gives you this cloud over here, which can serve as either support or resistance, and also gives you two lines. One is the Tenkan line, which is the blue line. The other one is the Kijun line, which is the red line here. Red lags behind the blue. And when those two flip, when the blue gets back above the red, when the leading gets above the lagging, you get a bullish cross. The bullish cross happened back in February 2024. And, unfortunately, price had gotten underneath of that, but it did end up getting back above the Kijun over here so far. Kijun is at 18.6 and silver price is above that. So if anything, price has flipped the Kijun now from resistance potentially as support, right? The Tenkan is still above it. Generally, you really want to see in a bull market for a price to kind of stay above the monthly Tenkan and allow Tenkan to keep going up and push the price up even higher. Right now, it's below that. It's not ideal, but it's also not the end of the world, right? Because this downtrend over here so far over the last couple of months has been on declining volume. It's just been kind of consolidating sideways over here for quite some time. The last time I see a very, very similar look where price just kind of underneath the Tenkan and Kijun before a big bullish breakout potentially that could happen to break above the cloud, inside the cloud, and even through the cloud was over here. Right? There's a lot of correlate. I keep saying that there's a lot of correlate between here and here, both in terms of the Ichimoku cloud showing a Tenkan Kijun cross, which is bullish over here and bullish over here, and also based on a lot of the other signatures here too. Right? Look at the Black Cat signature. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the cloud here. Look at the Black Cat signature over here. This basically is a bank curve fund flow trend oscillator. It tells you whether or not big money is coming in or out. Right? If they're going up, it goes down like that. If they're going in, it goes up like that. What happens so far? Price went sideways. Well, inflow just kept going up. What happened over here? Price went sideways, it down a little bit. Well, inflow, it kept going up. Right? So this is a pretty favorable trend here, and you want to see whales to come in. Like during when the inflow is going up from whales, when price is going sideways, what did volume do? It consolidated. Right? When whales are coming inflow, when price went sideways, what did volume do? It went sideways. It went declining. Right. So this is a classic reaccumulation type pattern where volume just kind of went down, price goes sideways, and whale inflows are going up. These data also confirm on Fintel.io data that tells you that institutions have been coming into Marathon. I keep on periodically posting it on X to show you that this is is definitely happening, and this is this info over here is definitely confirmed. Another indicator, in addition to just looking at the well inflow, in addition to looking at the Ichimoku cloud, you can also pull out the Bollinger Band. That also tells you there's a lot of similarities between over here where price went sideways and over here when price went sideways. You have a 20-month moving average that has changed the course, right? It was all very, very downtrending, but it changed its course right around here. It started to flatten over here a little bit, right? If anything, it started to uptrend here a little bit too. Here, what happened? Bear market, 20-month moving average started going down, 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 down. And what's happening right now? 20-month moving average has changed its course around November 2023. It has been pulling up ever since. Price has been consolidating above the upper part of the Bollinger Band here for months. Price has been consolidating on the upper part of the Bollinger Band here for months. And you also have initially some expansion over here, followed by a little bit of contraction over here for the Bollinger Band because price went sideways for months, right? You initially have some expansion over here, followed by potentially a little bit of contraction over here because price has kind of gone sideways for months. So, I'm seeing a lot of very similar correlate over here. And so far, this trend is still looking, pretty bullish despite of what happened over the last couple of months. The other things to show you, I think it might be better to show you in a little bit more microscopically on the weekly. On the weekly, you can see a couple of things here on the weekly. First of all, I'm just going to pull up this thing right here, which is the anchored VWAP, the volume weighted average price. It tells you the average price that the current holders from any particular point of time in the past. For example, if I click down here, which is going to be the cycle low, it can tell you that when price was at last week, it tested this line here as support for the average price of what the holders are. So holders actually are in profit right now predominantly. And this line over here generally can serve as support or resistance, and it bounced off of that support pretty decently so far. A couple other things to also look at too, if you're asking whether or not the trend is still bullish or bearish on the weekly, you can tell that by looking at the moving averages. You can tell that basically price bounced from an uptrending 50-week moving average. 20 is still above 50, is still above 100. This is still a bull trend that only just started a few months ago. So far, everything is looking pretty decent and stacked the right way. If you're looking at some of the momentum indicators, let's see if we see anything, particularly interesting here. We do, and that one thing is you basically have kind of price kind of gone up a little bit up here throughout this last few months, and you have RSI continue to actually go down. So this is actually a hidden bullish divergence. And it looks like it's been playing out because price seemed like it bounced from this level and going up higher, right? When you have these kind of hidden bullish divergences, basically it tells you that there's some hidden, bullish momentum here that's being built up. You actually want to see how the divergence, if the price has some discrepancy at the bottom part of it between price and between RSI, you have a bullish divergence. It's either hidden when price goes up, RSI goes down, there's a hidden divergence. And if price ends up going down, and if RSI ends up going up from the bottom, you have a bullish divergence, right? And it worked out over here. Once you have it into this bullish divergence over here, price went up significantly a lot after that. So I'm spotting some bullish divergence over here that's just starting to kind of work out. And I think because of that, there's still a lot of tailwind that are coming. If you look at the candle formation itself, looks like this is like a very, very nice hammer bottom over here. What also formed a hammer bottom? It was the cycle low. This also was a hammer bottom. This is generally a very, very nice kind of bottoming look to it. It looks like currently price seemed to be bouncing up, which seemed to be confirming that this might be a very, very important local bottom here. There are a lot of people who are eyeing the gap close down here at like 13.7. It didn't end up closing that. I'm not sure if it will this cycle, to be really honest with you. There's a very strong potential that it just keeps on going up. Obviously, nothing's ever absolute. There's always a possibility that it could end up making another leg down before going up. But so far, because of how this looks, because of how the VWAP, the volume weighted average price, because of a few things I'm seeing over here, I think that might be the end of this downtrend. Even just looking at the volume, looks like the downtrend has just been exhausted for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. It just looks like it's just been exhausted. And it got a pretty decent candle over here to tell us that we might have bottom over here for further bullish continuation. So that was Mara. I'm going to go ahead and pull up a very, very similar look over here, which is Bitfarms. Bitfarms, looking at the monthly, again, is still very much of an accumulation pattern, just like Mara. You can see that here on the Fintel.io that last year whales and institutions has been accumulating. And you can also see that being confirmed over here by Black Hat indicator, a significant increase in inflow. Look at how nice and beautiful this is. Huge inflow from whales. Price went sideways to down. There's some discrepancies over here, and I think that this is going to end up working in favors for the bulls. The further down the price goes down and the further up the whale inflows are coming, I think you're going to have like a lot of these kind of discrepancy or divergences that's going to end up building up a lot of bullish momentum for price to go a lot further, right? Just like Mara, whenever I look at Mara, I see that it's just trying to break above this range, and it did end up breaking above the range, right? It's just like this big giant range over here. It's just looks like it's just trying to break above around here, and it did break above over here on pretty decent volume, and it just ended up doing a little bit of a back test on decreasing volume. So most likely what's going to end up happening is bullish continuation, right? And the same thing is happening to Bitfarm. Looks like it's just kind of back testing this range over here. Very nice inverse head and shoulder pattern. It did reach the target of this pattern, but it ended up back testing this as support before pushing up, potentially pushing up even further. I do see that most likely it's going to end up having some pretty bullish continuation. For Mara, I think the target's going to be maybe closer to around like 40s and 50s immediately once it breaks out above its current range. For Bitfarm, I think the range is going to be around like $5. The reason why I say that is because if you look at the volume shelf, you can see that once it breaks above this range over here, it's just been basically ranging between the top range over here around high threes, bottom range over here around the high ones. Just been kind of going sideways and ping pong between these volume shelves over here for quite some time. And once your price is able to really break about, let's say like 3.8 or 4 or something like that, it's probably going up to the 5 in a hurry, and that's probably going to be your next big resistance levels up here. And because it's been range bound here for a while, because the whales have been accumulated for so long, and because the selling volume here has really been starting to look pretty exhausted, I think the bullish continuation is going to happen. And I think it's probably end up going to hit $5 in a hurry over the next months or so. If you look at the Ichimoku cloud on the monthly, you can see there's a bullish cross, but price is currently unfortunately below both the Tenkan and Kijin. But that's okay. These look basically have a very, very similar look as Mara did back on the last cycle, back over here, right? Price is just beneath the Tenkan and Kijin. You had the Tenkan and Kijin cross, and it looked very, very similar to that. So I actually don't mind price just kind of consolidating here before big breakout, which I think is a possibility that it might happen. The month is still early, we're still hitting resistance above, but if you can imagine the price continuing to push up, you might end up having a very, very nice, for the month of April, very, very nice potential hammer bottom over here, which looks like it's what it's trying to do. Now, in addition, look at the Ichimoku cloud. You can also look at the Bollinger Band. Looking at the Bollinger Band, price is still on top of the 20-month moving average, which is crawling up on the upper part of the Bollinger Band over here. Just kind of went a little bit too far, too fast here on the month of February, and it just ended up having a lot of retracement over here, which is fine. The Bollinger Band is still slowly expanding. It's going to curl inwards a little bit. This has a very, very similar look to Mara that I just showed you, right? But the trend overall is still bullish. If you look over at the weekly and trying to extrapolate and see what it's trying to do on the weekly, you can see that the trend is still bullish. It just bounced off of a positive pointing 50-week moving average. 20 is a little bit crawling down, but that's okay. Not the end of the world. It was crawling down over here before this big giant green candle, right? It's finding support at the 50. It looks like it's bouncing. 20 over 50 over 100 on the weekly moving averages. Full bull trend here. That just started not long ago. It just started a few months ago. Selling volume looks like it's been exhausted over the last 8 weeks. And it looks like you have a little bit of an increasing, bullish volume that are coming in now slowly. If you are to look at some of the momentum indicators such as RSI and try to see whether or not there are any things that you can see, I do see a little bit of a relative I would call this relative because it's not clear. I do see a little bit of a relative hidden bullish divergence over here where price just basically had gone up a lot from that point, from like $1 to almost $2 over here. And ours I actually end up having a full reset, right? And initially you have a little bit of a bearish divergence up top where price just went up a little bit, and RSI kind of looked like it was kind of exhausted. This ended up having like almost 8 weeks straight selling down. And I think this bearish divergence has played out. I think the bullish divergence is now kicking in. And the bullish divergence has been going for a lot longer, for about like 4 months or so. So I think this might end up having a pretty significant price push upwards. I can potentially see that, you know, happening. And that's just the what the weekly RSI is telling me. If you look at the on balance volume, you can see that there's also a very, very strong divergence where price gone up, but the volume has gone down. So this is also a very strong hidden divergence here between hidden bullish divergence here between price and on balance volume. These things are generally quite bullish when it happens. If it's towards the end of the divergence, I mean, granted, price can go down a lot further on bullish divergence, and price can also go up a lot higher on bearish divergences. But you can see that there's a lot of bullish energy that's been building up for months. And I think if it ends up playing out, I think it could potentially push prices up to like around $5 in a hurry. We are short term hitting a little bit of a resistance over here, unfortunately, but I think we still have enough bullish energy trying to get over that. One potential resistance is the volume weighted, average price from the cycle low. It did serve a little bit as a resistance over here before this breakout, and right now I think it's kind of doing the same thing, serving a little bit as a resistance over here before allowing price to go up a lot higher. Most people are still just a little tiny bit underwater over here, so potentially this still will be a little bit of a selling pressure over here before breaking out. But again, like over here, it didn't serve as very good support. So why do you think this is going to be necessarily very good resistance here, right? So we'll see what happens. I'm still, pretty bullish on Bitfarms because again, it still has a pretty decent bull trend. It just bounced up a very important weekly moving average that's pointing up, and overall the monthly also look pretty healthy. So anyway, those are my thoughts for Bitfarms and for Mara. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good one. Bye.